Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be giving you a full review and rundown of the SDP WZ-66 GROM, a Tier 8 Polish collector tank destroyer. This is the vehicle I would consider to be very sought after, and the reason why is because this tank looks like a beast. I've not played it yet, but I'm very excited to try it out today. The GROM has so many different characteristics that are just incredibly scary, and today you're going to find out exactly what they are. Now, what exactly are we going to cover in today's video? Well, I'm going to showcase live gameplay, the armor profile, statistics of this tank. We're also going to be comparing it to the tech tree Kilana, so that you can get an idea of whether the Kilana is just as good, better, or if it's worth your money at all to buy this tank when the tech tree exists. So, as always, if you enjoy videos like this, especially early content, make sure to smash that subscribe button down below. I'm the only content creator that posts these videos as early as they come. With that being said, let's start off with how to get your hands on this vehicle. There's two different ways. The first way is just a flat $80 US purchase. That's it. Comes with the tank, comes with the camo. It's a pretty good deal when you think about it because this tank is not an easy tank to get your hands on in crates. The crates are incredibly expensive, $60 for 20 crates, and the drop chance for the tank itself is only 3%. It's the worst drop chance I've ever seen. And you're going to have to open a bunch of crates to get your hands on the vehicle guaranteed. I don't know exactly how many charms. It's like, yeah, almost 40 charms. So you're going to have to spend either $120 to get the vehicle guaranteed or 80. I would definitely say if you're gonna spend the money, just get your hands on the vehicle with the bundle here. Maybe get the cheap crates like I did for 3 and 2 bundles, but apart from that, don't waste your money on, $60 worth of crates. At that point, just buy the tank flat out. I mean, it's only 20 more bucks, so that's at least my opinion when it comes to the purchase. Now, I'm not going to say whether I think it is or isn't worth the purchase price. That's for you to decide because everybody has a different amount of money that they have in their wallets, and yeah, that's really up for you to decide. I am simply here to let you know whether this is a tank that I think is good or bad. So let's very briefly start off with the statistics this vehicle has going for it and the armor profile. So the armor it's pretty dang good. It's not as good as the tech tree Polish tanks, but it makes up for it in the gun handling department and all the other areas. So what exactly are we looking at in terms of armor? Well, we can see that the superstructure is the major weak point. Let's pull out your average tier 8 heavy. Let's just get like an IS-5 out or something. Here we go. IS-6 is fine. So this is what an IS-6 sees when loading gold. On flat ground, with enhanced armor, as we can see, the vehicle's upper plate is about 280 thick. That's still very good. Against any standard ammo, this thing's going to be a bounce everywhere. And with the 7 degrees of gun depression, it's getting pretty red. So it definitely has good armor. When you're using gun depression, almost all tier 8s are not going to be able to cut through you, and tier 7s are literally going to have no chance. But yes, the weak point on this tank is just next to the gun. It's pretty weak. The hull, this little, you'd think, oh, that's a weak point. It's not. That's 400 thick. You cannot pen this point here. The other weak point is the lower plate, which is 150. So you have two different spots. You can either shoot the lower plate or load gold if you have enough pen, and you can go through the superstructure. Those are your only two options. The tank really doesn't have any hatches, as we can see. Even on flat ground, that doesn't count as a hatch, and while this does, good luck hitting that, dude. If you miss by even the slightest amount, it's going to bounce right off, and you're not going to pen. So, in general, try to shoot the lower plate, or if you can't pen that and it's fully hulled down, don't bother fighting it because you're not going to be able to cut through. Side armor, as we can see, is pretty dang strong. I mean, even at this angle, the corner cutouts are 317. So this thing has crazy good armor. The side scraping capabilities are really good. I'm actually surprised on how good the armor is. It's not as good as the Kilana, though, I should say. The Kilana on flat ground is 280. Putting on enhanced armor, it's 290. And if we get, the same Soviet heavy, being the IS-6, let's go down to tier 8. Where is it? IS-6. We can see the Kilana's armor is definitely better. This is what an IS-6 sees when using gun depression. So it's better. It's 330. It's definitely a bit stronger because this tank especially doesn't have more gun depression. But in general, both tanks have pretty dang good armor. It's just that in general, this tank's upper plate is like 300, where the GROM's is more like 280. So it's about a 20 millimeter advantage for the Kilana versus the GROM. But you do have this whole lower plate here, which is pretty dang weak, as we can see, only 88 thick. So that is something to keep in mind. The lower plate on this tank is much smaller. When it comes to the gun, it's got great DPM, 3,376 within 50 meters of distance, and that's because the tank does 518 damage per shot. That's a pretty chunky alpha. And even when you get further away, it's still 444 damage per shot with 2,900 DPM. So this thing's going to be really scary. It's only once you get to about 120 meters of distance where your damage per shot drops quite a bit at 370, but still not bad DPM at 2,400. Even at lowest damage per minute, dealing 300 damage per shot, you're still 1900. That's the same as any tier 8 heavy. So DPM wise, even at lowest, you're still totally fine. You should be able to go toe to toe with any heavy tanks, especially with the armor this thing features. It's going to be really scary. We can see here I actually have both the Kilana and GROM lined up against each other, so we can get a good idea of how these vehicles compare. When it comes to the gun, the Kilana does have about 150 more DPM, which is interesting, but I guess it makes sense because the Kilana has less alpha damage, it has less module damage, so it's fair. And you can see there's a lot of red. I didn't mean to scroll down there. When it comes to penetration, both tanks are pretty good. It's 255, 263 loading gold, as we can see. Both are, again, pretty similar. High explosive, what are we looking at? We got 68, 70. So yeah, very similar damage overall. High explosive damage, by the way, is really good on the GROM at 630. That's really scary. When it comes to the reload, obviously more alpha means longer reload, but I will definitely trade that alpha damage for the reload. It's worth it. Shell velocity is worse. Premium shell velocity is the same, and high explosive shell velocity is also pretty similar. But yeah, the standard shell velocity is quite a bit worse than the Kilana. I'm actually surprised about that. The big advantage for the GROM is when it comes to the gun handling. The Kilana, it's not bad on gun handling, but it's definitely not good. It's pretty average. You have to wait a little bit for it to aim in, which can definitely hurt for that tank because you're super slow on reverse. You have to be really careful. But the GROM, well, it actually is really good gun handling. The aiming time is worse, as we can see. And the dispersion is still pretty poor on both tanks, but the big advantage is the on-movement dispersion. As we can see, the GROM has better on-movement dispersion. Its hull traverse dispersion's a little bit worse, but look at the turret traverse dispersion. You might be saying, Droodle's tank destroyers don't have turrets. Correct. It's called turret traverse, though. And what it is it's when you move your gun. This here is what is turret traverse. That is such a big advantage for the GROM, because it means that now when you move your gun, which you have to in this tank, you're not going to bloom nearly as much as you are in the Kilana. Not only that, the GROM has an extra degree of gun depression at 7 versus 6 degrees, which is absolutely huge. It also has much better mobility. It reverses better at 13 versus 12. It has flat better terrain resistance values. It has flat better engine power. It's everywhere is better. And sure, maybe the traverse speed is a little bit worse, but in reality, it's actually way better on medium terrain because it has better terrain resistances. So in just about every single area, the GROM is faster, it has a better gun, it has better alpha damage, the DPM is slightly worse, but in other areas, it's just kind of better. Hit points wise, the Kilana is a little bit beefier, so that is an advantage. It also has slightly better camo, but not anything that's going to be a huge difference between the two. But that's it. I mean, really, the Kilana doesn't have much over the GROM, if I'm going to be entirely real. All it has is slightly more DPM, a little bit more armor, and I guess a bit more hit points. That's it. In general, I think the GROM is going to be a better tank. And we're going to find out because we're heading into queue right now to see just what the GROM is capable of. I'm really excited because this thing seems like a frickin' beast. It might even be a little overpowered. As many of you know, the Tier 10 Błyskawica is already an incredibly scary vehicle, and I had a play 10 session in the tank where I was able to go 4,500 average damage for 10 games. So if this tank is just as strong as the Tier 10, if not even stronger, then it really could be a game changer in terms of Tier 8 capabilities. But there's only one way to find out. Alright, here we are on Lagoon. Now, I need to clarify this right now. These tank destroyers are meant to be played frontline. If you are driving these tanks in the back of the map, you're playing them wrong. Play this tank frontline. Not like the most ridiculous frontline you've ever seen, but you definitely want to play this vehicle more aggressive than you're driving your average TD. Because the closer you are, the more damage you deal. The further you are away, the less damage you deal. And you can see exactly how that damage bar works, right? 150 meters there, we only have 1 bar. 30 meters, we got 3 bars. It's a very simple mechanic. You don't even need to use the bar, though. Basically, just the closer you are, the more damage you deal. That's all you have to know. We're going to cut through mid. Now, you'll notice that this tank is definitely a decent amount of mobile, right? I mean, I've driven the Keylana. The Keylana is not as fast as this tank. This vehicle's mobility, especially the traverse speed, is quite a bit better. And I can tell you the gun handling feels nicer. I mean, just driving down the road, you can see that it aims in pretty quick, and that's it. I mean, that's your max bloom. That's pretty accurate, everything considered. So we have the Lorraine, which we already got a 516 damage shell into. I'm going to make sure that this Lorraine cannot get around me, and I'm going to load in another shell. There you go, 496. That player's already dead. That is insane, what I was just able to do to that player. That's actually insane. So what we're going to do now is we're going to push the Tiger and see if we can get some damage into them. Let's get within 50 meters. Boom, there you go. That's max damage. You can definitely see how the mechanic works, right? Again, the closer you are, the more damage you deal. So if you wait just that teeny bit to close that gap, you can deal more damage. And that was a huge roll as well. So now we push back over here. We have 7 degrees of gun depression, which makes this tank actually pretty flexible, everything considered. I don't know where the enemy team is right now, and I don't want to make an incredibly aggressive play. Yeah, that wasn't the... Oh, wow. No, that player got nuked. That wasn't the best play for me, though. I probably shouldn't have shown my lower plate there. Alright, we got the Ag Panther 2 in the back, and we got 2 tanks in our rear. I'm going to ignore all of this action over here. I'm going to try and push the T-44 and the T-69, because that's going to be where the most damage is, right? Again, the closer I am, the more damage I deal. So I'm going to try and push these players. We're going to see if I can get some really nasty bleeds out. T-69's backing up. Got the T-44 right here, and boom, 486. Please move out of my way, Chimera, because I'm moving up. All right, let's see. We got the T-69 over here, and that player is trying to shoot the Chimera. Love to be able to hit this player myself, but this Chimera is just doing a great job of getting in my way. Alright, let's move over here and aim in. Bonk. There you go. 523. That put us over the 3,000 damage mark. And all that's left is the enemy Ag Panther 2. I can already tell you, this thing's insane, dude. I mean, you can see the damage per shot. It's crazy good. And not only is the damage per shot crazy, but the gun is actually accurate. The mobility feels great. And the biggest problem with the Polish tank destroyers, there's 2 issues. First of all, reverse speed. This tank, it only reverses at 13, but you know what? It's still better than the 12 that the tech trees do. The other big advantages are gun depression. That's another huge problem that I run into occasionally with the Polish tank destroyers, is not having the gun depression to be able to work a spot properly. But this tank, the gun depression isn't an issue at all. I can poke properly, I can get shots out, it's not an issue. There you go, 3,081 damage. So let's do one more game in this tank. Let's see if it can do just as well. But the gun depression, paired with the much better traverse speed on medium terrain, and the fact that this gun hits harder, plus better reverse speed, yeah, it's definitely better than the tech tree. Now, that's not to say the tech tree is bad. It fulfills a different purpose. The tech tree has much better upper plate armor. And not only that, it has more DPM, and it still has really good capabilities. So I'm not saying that the tech tree is bad at all. But if you gave me the choice of the GROM or the Keylana, I'm picking the GROM every day, because this vehicle erases the problems that I have with a lot of the Polish tanks. It erases the gun depression problem. It erases the poor traverse and reverse problems. And in return, the only downsides you make is a little bit less armor, which isn't that mandatory. It still has insane armor. And the other sacrifice you make is just a little bit worse DPM. But that's it. Everything else is better, especially the gun handling. The gun handling felt amazing, and that's the major problem I have with all the Polish tank destroyers. So this thing really is just a dream. Is it overpowered? Probably. It probably is. I consider most of the Polish tank destroyers, if used properly, kind of overpowered. So this one as well, it's not much of a shock to me, but man, is this thing fun to play. Okay, we're on Dynasty's Pearl in a Tier 9 matchup, and this is a bit of a cringe matchup. Up against us is an Eric Concept 1. Basically, it's my tank, but with 2 auto-loading 500 alpha shots. Yeah, that tank's stupid. Alright, well, we're gonna put on our speed boost, and we'll see where our team wants to go. I would love to go to the park. This thing has the gun depression to work the park properly. It has the armor. That's exactly what you want from a vehicle like this. And again, you can see the mobility on this tank. It's not the fastest. It only goes 35, but it's just the fact that this vehicle itself is, it's just nice. It feels nice. Is it overcooked, though? Probably a bit. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Don't see any trees or objects knocked down, but there you go. We do have some enemy tanks. Oh, well, there goes our T-44 already. That sucks big time. Interesting. I'm going to move up. Could it be bad play? Sure. But I also really want to take this Eric out of the game. And, oh, well, we got the Death Star here. But you know what? Screw it. I'm going to roll around the corner. There you go. 421. And just going to chill here and side scrape a bit. Don't really think that Death Star can do anything to me, to be honest. Boom. Easy clear. 265. That's nothing. Like, that's literally nothing to bleed. Alright. Let's see. Let's see. Got the 53 TP. I don't want to be bled, though. I don't want to be bled big time, at least, right? And my team's kind of slow to the movement here. Let's see. Gonna aim in on the 53. Alright. And boom. There you go. Nice 470. But you did notice the 53 went right through my superstructure. This is exactly what I was talking about before when it comes to the armor on this tank. It's very, very good. But you can definitely pen... Oh my god, 630? What the heck, dude? That is insane. Can you guys please move out of my way? Thank you. Yeah, the damage per shot that this thing has is... It's a little ridiculous. It really is. We got the enemy Destiny over here, and I'm going to face hug this guy. The Destiny doesn't have... premium to really cut through me here, so I'm not worried at all about the Destiny. I can face hug him, I can get another shot. It's a low roll, but it's still a pen. I'm just gonna keep face hugging this guy. Destiny literally gave up on shooting me. That's how good this thing's armor is. There you go, 535 into the Destiny. We do have to be careful here, but we're doing pretty good, everything considered. Reloading, 3, 2, 1, boom. That player is taken out of the game. Now we have the SU-130 over here, who is going to bounce me, El Bozo. We're going to load in a high explosive for 580 damage. And the craziest part about this tank is that I should out-reload him, but I'm hoping that my teammate, which they do, gets the clear into that player. We're going to see if we can maybe hatch the VK. I'd love to. It's so close to being able to hit it, but I just don't have the gun depression. There you go. Nice 485, and the enemy Vipera missed me, which means I can now drive over the ridgeline, put on my adrenaline, aim in a shell on the Vipera, get a 321 damage clear, and now we can aim in on the VK100. 4,715 damage. Yeah, this tank's overpowered. I mean, this game you just witnessed is such a good example to that. The DPM is great, but the gun is so accurate, and the mobility feels amazing. We aced the tank already in my second game played. It was a tier 9 match as well, so you can't say I haven't fought up tiers. This tank is crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy. It's kind of what I exactly expected it to be, you know? Because you look at the stats and you're like, wow, it just solves all the problems with the other Polish tank destroyers. It has the gun depression. It has the traverse speed. It has DPM still. It has alpha damage. This thing is crazy. I mean, it's insane what you can do in this vehicle. So, you want my opinion? I do think that the GROM is probably one of the most overpowered tier 8s that Wargaming has released in a while. I think that if this is the kind of playstyle you like, frontline, aggressive, you know, in your face, this is the tank. This is what I envisioned when I first saw Polish tank destroyers were coming into the game. This thing is scary, dude. It's absolutely scary. Hopefully enjoyed today's video, and let me know what you guys think in the comments about this tank, but woof, it's pretty sketch. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.